Okay, it's on.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. First thing up, adoption of the agenda. Any questions? Councillor Schlossberger?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Carried. Minutes from the regular meeting, May 25th. Any questions, any errors, omissions?
No, everything looked good.
How would you like to move that?
I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes as May 25th as presented.
Okay, Councillor Zimmer. All in favor? Carried. Okay, first action item, bylaw 1698, the off-site levy bylaw, second and third reading.
All right, so on May 11th, Council gave first reading to bylaw 1698, which is a bylaw to establish the off-site levies for phase 1 of the Starline Business Park. That'll help pay for roads and municipal utility systems that are required off the site of any particular development or subdivision. In this case, it's the East Industrial Park, phase 1. Notice must be given on an off-site levy bylaw as per section 606 of the MGA. And we did provide notice on May 27th and June 3rd in the local paper. As well, we sent notification to the landowners. We also submitted this bylaw to Gavin Scott, our planner with Old Man River, and he had no additional comments. So administration recommends this bylaw does not require a public hearing, just notice, which we've accomplished. So we would ask that council pass second and third reading of this bylaw.
Okay, any questions?
Nope.
If no questions, could I get somebody to do second reading? Councillor Carlson. Question.
Moved by Councillor Carlson to give bylaw number 1698 an off-site levy bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Carried. Who would like to do third reading? Councillor Schultz? Question.
Moved by Councillor Schultz to give bylaw number 1698 an off-site levy bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Carried. Moving on to number 2, correspondence, the Honorable K.C. Madu, Minister of Municipal Affairs. Ministerial order number MAG 015/20. Marion.
Yes, so we received notification that the minister put forward the following ministerial order, and it is to basically cancel or waive the designated industrial property levy that we are charged for the preparation of that tax for the year 2018, 19, 20, and 20. Sorry, not 21, just 18, 19, and 20. And the amount for 2020 is $600.75. So we just won't be getting charged for those, for the preparation of that designated industrial property.
Okay. So we'll take that for information. Number 3, Dr. Dana Hinshaw, the Alberta Chief Medical Officer of Health, Municipal Council and Committee Meetings, a letter. Marion.
So in some of the town hall meetings that mayors, Reeves, and CAOs had with the province and Dr. Hinshaw, the question has arisen about the ability for council to have council meetings in person. So she was just clarifying that, yes, that is allowable, but you do, and you could have more than 15 people as long as you have the physical distancing and all of the other provincial health measures that need to be in place to ensure that, there's protection for yourselves as well as the public. But it is their recommendation that public attendance at council meetings should continue to be facilitated through the virtual means. So I believe council has decided that we will continue with the virtual meetings until at least the end of June. And we'll see at that time if any of those restrictions lift. We do have difficulty in our facility of being able to keep the 2-meter separation between councilors when we would be, if we were to have those meetings in person.
Okay. Moving on to number 4, request for decision, appointing an assessor. Marion.
So the Municipal Government Act, Section 284(2) requires that the municipality appoint a person as having the qualifications set out in the regulation to the position of designated officer to carry out the functions, duties, and powers of a municipal assessor under the Act. We currently have a contract with Benchmark Assessment, and that contract goes until July 31st of 2023. And Logan Wayloggy is the assessor appointed to the town of Clarisholm. And so we would be looking for a motion of council tonight to appoint the current assessor, Logan Wayloggy, as the assessor for the town of Clarisholm for the 2020 year.
Okay, would somebody like to make that motion? Councillor Cutler. Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Cutler to appoint the town's current assessor, Logan Wayloggy, an employee of Benchmark Assessment Consultants, Inc., as the assessor for the town of Clarisholm for the 2020 assessment year.
All in favor? Carried. Number 5, request for decision, Federation of Canadian Municipalities grant. Marion.
All right, so FCM has a grant program called the Municipal Asset Management Program, and it provides grant funding for projects related to asset management. So to support small communities in their training and their ability to basically manage their assets, RMA, so the Rural Municipalities Association, along with Alberta Urban Municipalities Association, and the Infrastructure Asset Management Alberta are offering capacity building cohorts in 2020 and 2021, utilizing that FCM grant funding. So these cohorts are for training or working groups of individual municipalities to support one another in creating their own individual internal asset management teams, develop an asset management policy, and develop an asset management strategy. The cost of participating in this is free, other than what our travel costs would be to attend those meetings. Those meetings would include 3 in-person workshops. They would be hosted on a rotational basis based on the municipalities that are involved. And we are proposing that we join with the town of Pincher Creek in their application to participate in the cohort. There is approximately 11 municipalities in total that are proposing to work within that cohort. That would keep us within a reasonable geographic range and would help to minimize our costs. As well would create that support group moving forward. So the town of Pincher Creek just basically requires proof of a commitment from the town of Clarisholm by way of a resolution, and the town of Pincher Creek would spearhead all the planning and organization of the application process for the project. So as council may be aware, one of the things we were looking at with our infrastructure master plan was to actually apply for some of this funding to assist us moving forward with our asset management strategy and development of our project. By participating in this project, it does not affect our ability to be able to apply for that funding. And we currently are working with the engineers. We have a meeting set up. I believe it's the week of the 22nd to start that process. So we would be looking for a motion tonight to commit our participation with one staff member to that project in cooperation with Pincher Creek.
Any questions?
Sounds good.
If not, could I get a motion? Councillor Schlossberger. Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to commit to participation with the minimum of one staff member and the Rural Municipalities Association of Alberta, RMA, Asset Management Cohort with the town of Pincher Creek.
All in favor? Carried. Number 6, request for decision, the Claresholm Medical Clinic property taxes. Marion.
We've received the request from the MD Willow Creek to waive the municipal portion of the taxes on the medical clinic here in town that they own. Council did review that request in 2018 as well as 2019 and approved that waiver. The Municipal Government Act allows that if a council considers it equitable to do so, it may generally or with respect to a particular taxable property or business or class of taxable property or business do one or more of the following with or without conditions, cancel or refund all or part of a tax. So in order to waive the municipal portion, the property taxes must first be levied. So this isn't something that you can do ahead of time. It must be, the decision must be made on an annual basis. And council would also have to determine why council considers it to be equitable to do so, and that must be stated in motion. In the past, council felt that in the spirit of, it was equitable because in the spirit of cooperation, if the town of Claresholm were to waive the municipal portion of those taxes, that the MD of Willow Creek is also supporting the town of Claresholm by way of an unconditional recreation grant in the amount of $50,000. So we have prepared a motion similar to what's been passed in 2018 and 19 for their request for 2020.
Any questions?
Nope.
If not, could somebody make a motion?
I'd like to make that motion.
Councillor Zimmer. Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to cancel the municipal portion of the 2020 property taxes levied on the property owned by the MD of Willow Creek, located at 4215 Fairway Drive, in the amount of $6,280.10 in the spirit of cooperation with our municipal neighbor. This cancellation is equitable to the parties involved in recognition of the support the MD of Willow Creek provides to the town of Claresholm by way of the unconditional recreation grant and the town's support of public health by way of supporting the Claresholm Medical Clinic.
All in favor? Carried. Number 7, a request for decision, economic development 3-year business plan. Marion.
Okay, so this is a follow-up to council's strategic planning session earlier in the year. And the Economic Development Committee has had an opportunity to review and update their 3-year business plan to align with the strategic priorities of council. So this was reviewed and approved at the last meeting of the Economic Development Committee. And as I said, it does align with the strategic priorities of council and will continue to move the economic development activities forward. So we would need a motion to adopt the updated economic development 3-year business plan as presented.
Any questions, comments?
I thought it looked really good.
Councillor Schlossberger is making a motion. Question.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to adopt the updated Economic Development 3-year Business Plan 2020 to 2023 as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Number 8, request for decision. The selfie spot signage, Canada Day and Fair Days. Marion.
So the economic development officer, along with our celebrations coordinator, have been working on a virtual July 1st activity. And one of the ideas that they came up with was this Claire's Home selfie spot signs. So the idea behind it would these signs would be placed around the community in numerous locations, and they would encourage residents and visitors to take selfies, tag the town of Claire's Home on social media, and post their photos using hashtag Claire's Home. The signs will be placed in front of distinctive and aesthetically pleasing locations. For July 1st, they're talking about the museum, the golf course, the Frog Creek wetlands, Ringrose Park, Centennial Park, the Water Tower, Kin Trail, Patterson Park, and the 8th Street walking paths, as well as the murals located downtown and on the highway. So it's just a way to get Claire's Home recognized via social media. So for Fair Days, they would be looking at alternate locations, but using the same signs. Because we're doing a virtual Canada Day celebration this year, and I actually just saw a video for it tonight. It looks awesome, so you'll be happy to see that when it gets posted. But there's some money in that celebration budget that would allow us to just pay for these signs. One of the other things probably just to point out is that because the signs are town signs and they're being placed on town property, there wouldn't be a permit required for that, but we would consult with Alberta Transportation or any other organization that we may need to consult with depending on the location. So we would just ask for council to approve the placing of these signage, this signage on different locations throughout the community.
Sounds like a good idea. When would this, like, would the signs go up a couple days before or the day of, or?
I don't know the timing on that right now, Mayor. I think it would just, it'll be done before July 1st, so it's ready to go, and then it would be promoted as part of that. But I anticipate that those signs will stay up, so it won't just be a one-day opportunity. Hopefully people will spot the signs and take a selfie and tag Claire's Home for the near future and maybe long future.
Oh, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I like it.
Would somebody like to make a motion to support it? Councillor Cutler. Question.
Moved by Councillor Cutler to place selfie spot signage around Claire's Home at strategic locations as part of the Canada Day and Fair Day celebrations.
All in favor? Carried. Moving on to number 9, request for decision of the 2020 spring cleanup options. Marion.
All right, so for the last number of years, we have been offering a spring cleanup to our residents. We're they have the ability to put out all kinds of items, including metal and those types of scraps. And the town crew would go in and pick it up and transfer it out to the landfill. This year, with the COVID-19 restrictions that we had with our staffing and lack of ability, we postponed that temporarily. So this takes our full town crew 2 weeks to accomplish that pickup. So over and above their other duties, right? But it takes a full 2 weeks to do that. So right now, because of course things are a little behind, and now we're into the construction season and the paving and the other projects that we have to do. And yeah, so the guys are full basically for the next 12 weeks. We're also getting into a holiday season where we start to have staff take days off here and there, and so that again reduces the number of available bodies to do the work. So we're looking for a little bit of direction from council tonight as how you would like to see this proceed. So we basically put 3 options forward. One was perhaps we delay any cleanup and revisit the program at the end of the summer, and maybe do a fall cleanup rather than a spring cleanup. And that would depend on the workload and crew availability at that time. Mm-hmm. The second would be that we cancel the spring cleanup for 2020 with plans to continue that in 2021. The third option would be to permit some people to include some minor items in their regular pickup that our 2 crew members could handle on their own, that could just go into the regular garbage cycle. That would have to be for a limited time. Say you have 1 week or something that you can put your stuff out if we were to do it that way. One of the things I think that should weigh into the decision is that we've received information that the landfill has seen an uptake in vehicles coming out during this COVID-19. So my assumption is that there's a lot of people that have been home and doing spring cleanup and have found alternate ways to get this material out to the landfill. So perhaps this year, due to COVID-19, it might be reasonable to cancel or at least amend the program for this year. So,
what's everybody's thoughts?
Do a fall cleanup.
Yeah. Look at it, the fall. I've had a lot of people ask about the whole spring cleanup. Some people who can have access, but I really hate to put somebody in position to decide what is good enough to put in the, in recycling, who can and who can't. I would like to look at maybe a fall cleanup. It would be my support.
The only problem I see with the fall cleanup is I know the town crew has fallen behind this year, and will we actually catch up? Will there be time come then? We'll be reassessing it. I kind of like the option where we give them maybe 2 weeks that they can put additional items out for pickup. I think 1 week is a little too short. It would overwork the 2 boys if we did it over 2 weeks. But no big, large appliances or stuff like that.
The one thing I worry about that one is making the decision of what is acceptable and what isn't, and putting a lot of weight on the boys who are leaving stuff behind, and town people are getting mad because they're not being picked up.
We could publish a list of what's not acceptable, like metal definitely, and anything over 60 pounds sort of thing.
Yeah. There is private contractors that possibly we could get to pick up the metal if that was something that council felt was important to do this year. I guess it's a benefit that we offer to the community for sure. But there is alternatives out there as well. And if we did go to any kind of a reduced ability, we would definitely have to be very clear on what was and wasn't allowed, and publish that in time that people understood and had time to put their stuff out as well.
I think if you go to a reduced or modified amount, people tend not to generally pay attention or try to get a little extra. So I don't think I'd be in favor of a modified pickup in spring. With the private contractors, most folks that are doing larger items that they can't deal with may be able to pay for the private contractors to take care of that for them this year on their own and postpone it until spring of next year.
That would be my vote too, to postpone until spring of next year and give the town crew a chance. And I think it's an amazing service. I'm always shocked that the opportunity is there for my stuff to be disposed of. So I don't think it's going to kill anyone to have to wait a year. I think we're really fortunate to have the service. So that would be my 2 cents.
I could agree with that. I mean, most communities don't do this cleanup period. I mean, for us to skip 1 year because of special circumstance, I could support that.
I've driven the alleys when it's going on, and it boggles my mind at some of the stuff that is laid out.
Yeah, it does.
In my old house, we put out some stuff that I thought was getting the little extra myself a few years ago, and I couldn't believe that the boys actually said, "Here, let's help us throw this in, and we've got it for you." So kudos for them for doing it, but I think as a community we could find some alternatives ourselves this year if need be.
Okay, so
I was gonna say, the only thing I can think about if we leave it for this year and we do it next year is if it takes the boys 2 weeks to do it and we do it every year and we hold off a year, how much time are they going to need next year to play catch up is the thing. Now you got everybody, you're going to have 2 years of garbage out in your back alley.
well, I would refer back to what Marianne commented on earlier. The number of people is drastically increased that are hauling stuff out to the dump now on their own because they have time. So,
And knowing if we publish that it's not happening this year, people might have to modify their behaviors and deal with some of it themselves. So I
right.
can see a chunk of it going away. There'll be some extras for sure next year, but hopefully people are understanding and try to find solutions on their own versus depending on someone else.
Yeah, and one of the other things we could maybe look at is if there is people who just absolutely can't find someone to assist them, either a friend or family member, maybe we could work with FCSS, with our volunteer group or something. Maybe there's some people in the community that would be willing to step up and help, say some elderly people that just don't have the ability to do that themselves.
I'll nominate Councillor Sloshberger.
I'll co-pilot with Schlossberger.
I'm in.
well, and there's a couple of private contractors that just deal in garbage in town too. So, I mean, their names could be given to these people as well as to the FCSS. So if it's a financial burden, then the FCSS can step in. If it's not a financial burden, it's just an inconvenience, then one of the contractors in town that haul garbage could take care of it.
All right. So in a recap,
We need a motion.
Yeah, I can support canceling it this year. That's fine.
Who would like to make the motion to cancel it? Councillor Carlson. And that one is the first motion to cancel the cleanup. Okay, question.
Moved by Councillor Carlson to cancel the spring cleanup for the 2020 year.
All in favor? Carried. Now, to go along with that, I'd like administration to publish the reasons behind it, so as the public are well aware why we had to do this.
yep. And I'm fine with just because we can. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Number 10, the financial report, statement of operations, April 30th. Any questions?
No, look good.
If they look good, somebody like to make a motion to adopt them?
I can make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Moore. Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to accept the consolidated statement of operations for the month ended April 30th, 2020 as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Number 11, information brief, strategic plan report. Marion?
It's just there for council's review and update on where we're at with some of the action items that came out of the strategic planning. Any questions on that?
Any questions, anybody?
Looks good.
Okay, moving on. Councillor resolution status. Any questions in there?
Good.
Okay, and the final one, adoption of information items.
Mayor,
Marion?
there's
Yeah.
just a couple of items that I want to point out that are down in the information items, just in case there's some further discussion on those. So the first is number 3, which is the MD of Willow Creek's notice of their municipal planning commission. Just wanted to point out that the land that we sold out at the airport that was subdivided, there's now an application on 2 of those properties for buildings to be constructed. So they are adhering to the sale agreement, which I thought council would like to just be notified of that.
Thank you.
And then the second one is the Natural Resources Conservation Board. So the NRCB sent notification out regarding an application by the Granham Hatarian Brothers to build a 4,500 head feedlot. I did forward that information to council. It didn't come directly to us from the NRCB just because of the location and the distance between the town and where the property lies, where the application is for. It did come to us from some residents in the area, and so I did forward that on to council. As well, I just received today some additional comments from residents within the town of Claresholm with concerns about that. And they are aware that they need to contact the NRCB on that application. We don't have jurisdiction over that. But I didn't know if there was anything further that council wanted to do on that.
Anybody?
There's zero that we could do anyways, is there? As a council, as
Well, if
Supportive letter about not wanting it, can't, like, there's that process.
you'd have to justify it in the letter why. And to me, being as far away as it is, the odor is not really, I don't think you'd sell that. Like, is there any comments on the letters that Marion sent us?
Well, that was their main concern, was just smell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, and they did make a point about the smell that comes from Claresholm beef producers, but they mentioned it was a 400 or 500 head operation. It's substantially more than that.
They're out about 12,500 head.
Yeah.
Sometimes that smell comes from our lagoons too.
Yes.
But it is different. You can tell which one it is.
Yes, Doug, it is.
But I honestly, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for us to highlight why we're fighting for a buffer zone with the MD. But I think this is just too far away for us to raise a concern about.
and all we can do is direct our community members, if they're concerned, is they've got to send a letter to the NRCP.
Yep.
NRCB, the Natural Resources Conservation Board. That's who regulates those confined feeding operations.
I mean, it's further away than CBPL already. So I mean,
Well, it was interesting, some of the comments, like, why wouldn't they put it in their backyard? They bought the Wesley place specifically for this reason, and they will have people living there.
cool.
We had conversations last night. I had a gentleman phone asking about it and asking if we were aware. His major concern was watershed into the Willow Creek drainage system, as well as smell. But and coming from a history of Pincher Butte, he was quite concerned about future developments along the west side, strictly because of the issues that he was aware of from family in Pincher, and it was a lengthy discussion, and he was quite concerned. So he has been instructed to go to the NRCB and
Yeah, I'm sure the NRCB takes all that into consideration and stuff too.
Well, I'm sure you're right.
It's not the early 1900s where you can just put them wherever. There are environmental regs you got to follow and stuff now too. So, and I'm sure the MD will look at it and do their thing too. They're not just going to want. They've got ratepayers out there that they got to look out for too. So, I'm sure it'll get handled professionally and properly.
Well, and the land out there, it is fairly dry land they're putting it on. There is a slough to the east of them and then a little bit north, but the land they're on is fairly dry, and it does not drain into the creek. So, but Craig's right. That's all part of their consideration nowadays. Times have changed from the way they used to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we should be stepping into this, but
I don't.
do any of you think we should?
Nope.
No, there's process and protocols, and NRCB will take care of that. As we just direct people can write letters. That's all we can do is direct them to do that.
Okay, so we should take this for information.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on with adoption of information items.
Before we get to that, I was just wondering where the CAO report was, or did I not get it downloaded?
Last month.
Yeah, I do the CAO report in the second meeting of the month, and I do the strategic plan report the first meeting of the month.
Oh, okay.
They alternate meetings.
This is last week.
Right.
Okay,
questions like that, you won't be the favorite anymore.
so I could get a motion
Not true.
to adopt the information items. Councillor Carlson, all in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, on a roll tonight.
We are adjourned. Camera off, please.